Hello, everyone. This is Grace with Grace on a Journey Channelings. Welcome to the newcomer, and to those of you returning, welcome back. Your presence is valued and very much appreciated. Today, the title we will be going with is When a Love Spell Backfires. Now, I am very sure that there is a group of listeners that are familiar with the term love spell, and some of you have even experienced it personally or in your circles. Now, there is another bunch who is not so convinced that they really do exist. Either way, and whatever side you find yourself on, this talk will lead you in gaining more of an understanding when it comes to what happens in the act of manipulation, whether it is a love spell or not. And this will give you food for thought into ways you may want to make some changes or consider living in integrity. First of all, a love spell in my understanding, there are levels to this. Although I was not brought up in a culture, I should say in a family that engaged in such activities, but through watching movies and hearing of other people's stories, and later on experiencing it on my own, I am convinced they do exist. Now, when I say there are levels to this, some of you may notice going to a local 99-cent store and will come across shelves that you may find incense, sage, Florida water, different types of oil, and even uncover oils such as Come to Me spell or Come to Me oil or Dominion oil or Stop Court oil. Like, there are a variety of oils that once never claimed my attention because I was not interested in that world until it affected me. You see, when it affects you, you need to open up your eyes, ears, and mind and learn what all of it entails in order to save yourself and eventually maximize in ways to protect yourself. So, my understanding is they sell these oils or these sprays or these colognes in order to achieve whatever is labeled on that bottle. So if somebody is interested in somebody obeying them, they would utilize something like the Dominion oil, or they want someone to follow them. I guess they would use the Follow Me oil. I'm wondering if that's the same oil they would use for love spells as well. I don't know, because I don't use these things. I can give you more of an insight as to why. Besides the fact that it's wrong, okay, in my opinion, and I have the right to have my own opinion as much as you have the right to have your opinion, your belief system, your values. It's yours. It's also your free will. But I will not be denied my free will, my opinion, my values, my understanding, and so forth either. Because as much as you matter, so do I. Now, when you use these types of things, it's called manipulation. And the nicest way for me to put this is, if someone does not love me or someone is not interested in me and it's not authentic in nature, I am not interested. Now, some people are different. Some people are okay for someone wanting them confirmation, someone wanting them for what they have or their status or, another way, another opportunity that they can make available for them. But because I know my worth, I know my value, and I've gotten to know myself to a point where I appreciate myself and love myself, I refuse to settle for less. I refuse to be committed to somebody who is half-assing it in the relationship. I require that you are 100% as I am 100%. Therefore, me utilizing one of these oils or going to some type of quote unquote spiritual practitioner or whatever your contractor would be, would definitely not be an option for me, because I would not feel the result is honest. I would not feel that the result is authentic. And those of us that love authentically and honestly require it in return, because we know what we give and we deserve it back. I know the loyalty I demonstrate. I know the support I give. I know the reliability I provide. And I deserve it in return. Now, when you feel as if you're not 100%, it's very easy for you to take a gamble or manipulate someone, because this is trial and error. I'm not 100%. I'm not invested in this all the way. It doesn't matter if I'm sincere or not. You see? And so this is what differentiates people. I will not ignore the fact that culture is real, and some people find themselves on certain paths because of the fact that is what they witnessed in their familial circles. But regardless of what you witnessed, if you were exposed to some type of education and psychology for that matter, opening your thought pattern would bring you to points where you would begin to decipher what is ethical, what is unethical, regardless on your programming. And this is why, since the beginning of time, some people pulled others away from education, because they knew the effect of education would result in opening your mind and learning how to think for yourself and learning how to stand on your belief system regardless of the masses. And so many have found education as something to fear, as something to not expose their offspring to, because they don't want their offspring to grow up thinking that they're better than them, or being in the mindset where they see things differently, especially those families that want to continue to dominate and have things remain the same. What I've also noticed is that besides education, they also fear people that may play a role of some type of influence that may inspire you to consider your thoughts. Consider your preferences, your options, because they want you to remain closed-minded and see things the way they see them and repeat the patterns the way it's been done, regardless of the damage that it leaves behind. That can actually be uprooted and bring some type of healing to the future generations. And I find that sad. But that is human nature when you are not open to self-development. It's selfish. Now, the reasons why one may consider engaging either in the purchasing or the conjuring up of a love spell is due to low self-esteem, right? Because if you had high self-esteem, you would then have a belief that you can approach the person on your own merits. And that would be suffice in winning them over. Because you believe in yourself and the whole package that you offer, and are in the mindset that as you offer this package, mind, body, soul, not even including outside factors, that the person would begin to appreciate it and be attracted to it. So that area of challenge, in my opinion, should be looked into as far as your self-esteem and learning different methods in improving your self-esteem. I've heard many people made mention that if people took the same energy and the same effort to apply these quote unquote spells on themselves, improve themselves, rather than try to manipulate others, it would be the wisest thing to do. Instead of convincing someone to love you. Why wouldn't you apply that to yourself and learn ways to love yourself? Do you feel unworthy of self-love? Has that thought ever crossed your mind? Now, I just spoke of self-love, but now I'll go into love. Do you feel unworthy of genuine love? Do you feel unworthy of someone loving you with their free will? Do you feel that it is impossible for someone to love you for you? You see, there are a lot of different reasons why people resort to manipulation. My cause in mentioning all that I've said is because I want you to consider yourself in the process. Learn who you are in the process. Learn if you don't feel that you're worthy of love. If you don't feel that you can love yourself. If you don't feel that love is something that can be afforded to you genuinely. Because rather than just focus on the outside and factors in relation to the outside, you should consider taking some time to introspect and connecting to resources or people that can help you heal in order to help you to overcome this rut and one day to not be in lack of love, but to thrive in love. Those are all options. In the end, you will make your own decisions. But I feel that if you ever experience any type of respect in your life, let it begin with you. Respect yourself enough that you will begin to see yourself worthy enough to be loved by you or someone else. Now, one of the reasons why a love spell does not benefit you in the long run is because those that have fallen victim to it understand it as if they were being plotted on, and that their free will was taken away. They feel betrayed and exploited. And as soon as they wake up to the reality that they were mind manipulated, they experience a rush of anger, disappointment, disgust, and the need to detach. Some also go as far as searching for justice. Because it was a crime. The act of manipulating someone to that extent, besides taking their free will, is wasting their time. We all have a certain amount of time, and we should all have the right to utilize that time, first, to benefit us, and second, to explore and expand in ways that we select by preference. We should live our lives for ourselves and not have others live our lives for us. It's a form of theft, and it's not okay in the eyes of God. Regardless of your excuses or your belief systems, traditions, or religions, it is not right in the eyes of God to manipulate another person for your gain. The person feels exploited because they were engaged and interact with you in ways that they were not in control of. They experienced certain intimacies with you that they regret because they feel you've invaded their territory. They hold you accountable for the traumas gained during that experience of captivity. They feel disrespected because they were not respected enough to have a choice as a fellow human being. Now, I'm well aware that even after all that I've mentioned, some of you still believe in the practice of using love spells. But I'm going to add this to what I've been stating before. Understand that everything has a beginning and an end. I want you to let that marinate for a minute. Everything has a beginning and an end. And so you don't know when, but you know one day the spell will be broken. And when it is broken, the price will be hefty. Now, there are some horrific stories in regards to how people have acted after awakening from such spells. But to stay focused, I'm just going to walk into the next point that I want to make, which is one of the reasons why the love spells are made is because the person wants to be in union with whoever they are victimizing. But that individual and yourself sometimes experiences multiplying. And when that occurs, I want to bring it to your attention that the fruit of your union is karmic. It is karmic because someone's free will was taken. Now, I just heard confirmation. And so we are definitely on the right track. Now, because you have led yourself in the direction of having offspring that are karmic, what ends up happening is, besides your karmic debt, they have karmic debt because they are your offspring. And this is why you see generational curses at play. For example, a father that was a humanizer, who committed a lot of adultery, disrespectful to women, and some go as far as the topic, do love spells. And then they have a child, and the child happens to be a female. And the female encounters a male who is also a womanizer, who also manipulates women, who also uses love spells. Do you follow? And then it even goes on to the third generation. And the fourth generation. And the fifth generation. Because we are not allowing ourselves opportunities of growth. In relation to conformity, that's how we do it. This is the nationality we are. This is what our grandfather did. This is what our great grandfather did. This is what our race does. This is how it's done in 2022. Whatever the excuse, it still is an excuse. And it still does not protect you from the umbrella of karmic debt. When you find yourself, confirmation, when you find yourself in that low vibration, please be reminded this also affects your bloodline. You lower yourselves in rank. This brings many disadvantages to your family, many lost opportunities. At times, it causes you to have to continue in acting on more unethical ways in order for you to obtain the life that you want to co-create. Because you begin to feel the presence of karma. You begin to recognize a strike of bad luck as it appears. And this is due to a continuation of behaviors that have either kept you back or caused you to remain stagnant. So as you engage in certain behaviors as far as disrespecting your fellow man or taking away their free will, plotting against them, having a God complex and wanting to play God in their lives, wanting to change their destinies, wanting to be in control no matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice, no matter the risk, your children will inherit your hurt. If you love your children, if you've ever loved your children, consider the hurt that you are affecting them with due to your inability to respect yourself and those that you encounter. And as I bring this to a close, I want to reiterate that I'm very aware that this opportunity in sharing my thoughts, opinions, and advice in relation to love spells and why you should consider will not determine your final decision. However, consider loving yourself enough to be yourself when you introduce yourself. And I would like to end with the outro, which is, I am who I am in the eyes of God. Nothing more, and certainly nothing less. I wish you self-love. Peace.